what is a Chief Industry Insight Analyst?
So my job is to look at all the data and try and find the stories. So I try and look at where is the market going. So we've got colleagues that give us all the forecasts. I then play around with the forecasts and then try and find some trends so we can try and develop something that's clear and powerful, insightful for our clients, for the industry, that really kind of says this is a very compelling area.
Okay. And who pays for these insights?
Not enough companies, basically. Obviously, it's the same with any business would like more, but we started specialising in business messaging about 5 years ago. When we're covering all things mobile. We used to do a lot of mobile advertising, and we've kind of progressed away from there, focusing more around mobile marketing. But gradually, as the amount of data was, shall we say, flawed, or we think inaccurate around business messaging, we've kind of jumped on that, and we've really kind of seized that as a really great initiative for us. So any company that's involved in business messaging or wants to understand what business messaging is or what it can do for them, they're the companies that are and should be buying our data. So it's lots of mobile operators from around the world, quite a few brands, but mostly a lot of people within the business messaging ecosystem.
And we're here at Mobile World Congress. It seems like you're the de facto data for RCS, for mobile messaging. Was there anybody before who was doing this before, or was this kind of the white space that you entered and you found no one was doing it, or was the data just incorrect? What did it look like before you started this?
Well, we're doing a lot of projects for clients.
Okay.
And we're using other companies' data in terms of what's the size of the market. And as we started to get deeper and deeper involved in the research, it was pretty clear that the numbers that were out there were inaccurate.
Were they higher or lower?
Massively inflated.
Inflated?
Yeah.
Okay, do you think that was just
inflated.
because it makes sense for people that are in the industry to inflate their own numbers so it looks good, or?
So, yes. I mean, everyone's big numbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even we find, so we've got clients that use our numbers.
Okay.
They use our numbers for business planning, but they'll use other people's numbers for press releases because they're much bigger.
Yeah.
But we know that, because we spend our whole time doing this. This is all we do. We live, sleep, dream, sleepwalk, you name it, we do business messaging. That is all we do now. Other companies, don't really want to talk about them, but they are focused across lots of different areas.
Okay.
So they're really probably only touching on this area once or twice a year.
So you think that your numbers are a little more realistic, I guess? Because
we get a lot of industry data.
Okay.
So we don't really have to make anything up.
Okay.
We're well connected. We get a lot of information from the aggregators. We get quite some information from brands. We get a lot of information from carriers. We've just joined the GSMA as well, so we'll obviously hope to form a closer relationship with pretty much every carrier now.
Okay.
And the more that we do that, the better our data will become. So we've just updated our A2P SMS numbers, and we've seen quite a drop in our numbers. Yeah, but so we expect. So the market, we did have it for 2018 at around $17.5 billion.
Okay.
Based on the data that we got for last year, we've now put that back down to about $14.5 billion. So we expect the market to grow to about 17 billion by 2020, 2021. Then we expect to start seeing the numbers fall, but not in a negative way, because it's this traffic that's dropping is migrating over onto RCS.
Okay.
So it's not cannibalizing it, it's actually creating the platform to really kind of move forward.
It's just shifting
and
the
generate
numbers.
more revenues, yeah.
But I'm guessing there's people even that may pay you that aren't that happy with you saying that the numbers are going to go down.
But we can dress them up for them if we wanted, and we could tell them it's a $25 trillion industry, but that's not going to do them any good.
Yeah.
So this was one of the problems that we uncovered probably about 4 or 5 years ago, with a lot of operators not investing in SMS firewalls and obviously not monetizing what could be the white route traffic. And the reason they couldn't justify that investment is because they're seeing, the market could be worth $60, $70 billion, so they're reading. They were then trying to do an internal business case. And, but the numbers were just not achievable.
Yeah.
And so they were kind of saying, well, this isn't for us. And then they'd kind of walk away and look at other areas. But we know by creating numbers that are realistic, that reflect what's going on in the marketplace based on actual data, we're in a good space.
It's interesting. And I didn't know this. You actually founded Mobilesquared. this was like 11 years ago, so kind of when we started Tatango. So we've been doing mobile messaging for a ton. You said it originally started as kind of like a newsletter. How did the company start, and then what's been the evolution of the company?
So I was a principled analyst
Okay.
with then Informa, now Ovum. And I was just living on a plane.
Okay.
I kind of got bored of that and wanted to do something else. So to start the company up, it's more of a kind of a lifestyle thing.
Okay.
But as a marketing tool, we use Mobilesquared as the newsletter.
Okay.
But people really like that name. And so a few companies wanted to buy it off us.
Okay.
And we kind of realised actually...
By the newsletter?
Well, just the name,
okay.
the title.
Okay.
And we said no, and kind of glad we didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah, so that's kind of where it came from. So it was originally just a newsletter that we're kind of keeping our toes in with our journalistic roots.
Yeah.
And just kind of start pushing our thoughts, some of our analysis in the area that we're covering at the time out to our readership.
And how were you making money when you started the company? Were you selling data, or were you more of an agency?
No, it's more of a client. So it's more just doing bespoke research for clients.
Okay.
So we came up with this concept of a kind of 24-hour turnaround.
Okay.
So, for example, if you needed data for a meeting or you needed something, then the chances are we would probably have something that would help you, and we could turn it around in 24 hours. And that was initially the thinking, but that's just caused too many sleepless nights. Yeah. So we kind of moved away from that and started saying, actually, no, it needs to be a month or 2 months, so we got our life back again.
So is it, for the business, is the majority of like brands or carriers, are they paying you on a per, question basis, or are they just subscribing to something? What does the business model look like?
It's a bit of both. So what do we do now? We sell a lot of reports, so our data books. So again, we're not selling a traditional report because we did our research that said that most companies don't have time or people.
So you did your own research on your own?
On our own research, exactly.
That's smart.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do.
That's good.
Yeah. So we're talking to our contacts, and they're telling us that we don't have time to read a 400-page report. Yeah. We'd rather have something condensed, summarises the key findings, but what we want is data. So that's really where the whole data book comes from. And for our A2P SMS or our RCS data book, they contain millions of data points. So we look at 200 markets. Wow. We split each market out by operator, and we probably get, for SMS, we've got data points, actual data points for each market. And the SMS
so 200 market. Okay, and what market you're talking about, like different countries? Yep. Wow, so it's not just the U.S. Like
no, it's everywhere.
You're looking everywhere.
I mean, we say the top 200 markets.
Okay.
But there's only 225.
Wow.
So we've pretty much got everything covered, yeah.
Okay. So why not the 25? Just too small?
Too small.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. And that's super interesting. When you're going out and doing that, how long does it take to go out and get all of that data and compile it? Like, what is the process when 200 different countries, and then each one has their own kind of mix? Like, what does the staff look like? How long did these things take to kind of compile? And then is it essentially once you put it out, you start again, from fresh, or do you build on those numbers?
Depends what we do. So it does vary. I mean, there's 7 of us in the company, so we're all working very hard.
Are they mainly data people?
No. So we've got a few data people.
Okay. A
couple of analysts. We've got a few researchers, and then a few people supporting, doing all the marketing, logistics, etc. So a big thank you to them. Just coming back to the business model. So what we do is either sell the reports, data books, or we do it as a subscription. Okay. Now, as the people who obviously are subscribers will tell you, we're often a bit late, but that's because we're thorough. Yeah. So we start, each data book probably takes a minimum of 6 months to do. So A2P SMS, we started at Mobile Congress in Barcelona. So what's that, February, March time? Yeah. We've just finished it and published it now.
And how big are these data books? And is it like a PDF?
No, well, there's 2 things. So you can get it in an Excel file. Okay.
So it's a lot of
it's just actual data.
Okay, yeah. So this isn't like a book you flip through and you learn something. It's more, here's the raw data.
It's data that you flip through. Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Interesting.
So it's death by data. So you need to be able to kind of focus on things, because we know that we send data out to a lot of clients and they just send it back to us and go, we don't understand what we're looking at.
Okay.
So you need to be able to look at what you're, understand what you're doing, be able to process that data, and be in a good position to obviously use that. So you can either get that in Excel, we do it online as well, so we use Tableau.
Yep.
So we create the richness there, which is pretty useful, and then you can go very, very granular.
So these companies have the resources to take in the raw data and essentially then figure out what their question is and then answer it with that data.
Yeah, so it's either doing their own business planning, or they try and work out what their market share is. And again, because as we find out when we do our research and as companies share their data with us, we ask them questions about, what do you think the size of the market is? We often get told it's kind of that question thrown back at us. It's, well,
you tell us.
We're only going to quote you your data. Sounds quite flattering. So.